Thank you very much for your warm welcome. First of all, good afternoon to all participants of the Section 5 on Green Transition. I am Philippe Linard. I am Strategy Innovation New Business Manager, as you said, and also fellow expert for EDF Group. I am very honored to present my views and thoughts on integrated agile grids to respond to the new energy mix in front of such a distinguished audience. My presentation will be short, mainly based on my experiences on regional and even worldwide power interconnections. Second slide, please. Second slide, yes, thank you. I will start with general considerations on interconnections that is progressing at regional level all over the world, and on the fact that decarbonation, electrical markets and interconnections are related. I will briefly describe my experiences I was involved in Europe first, then 3 experiences as team leader in Asia, Northeast Asia Power System Interconnection called NAPSI, Greater Mekong Subregion called GMS, and One Sun, One World, One Grid, also WOG. As a conclusion, I will sum up the common factors, the lesson learned, and the benefit brought by the interconnections. Next slide, please. As introduction, a word on the context. Interconnection is progressing at regional levels all over the world. Here is a map of the regional interconnection initiative, which are listed in the world. Next slide, please. The reason of this regional interconnection initiative is that decarbonation, electrical markets, and interconnections are related. First, renewable energy development is a major feature of the last 20 years in the electricity sector, helping for climate change and for meeting the Paris Agreement. Then opening of electrical market gives the opportunity to more competition between generation companies, while grid remain in natural monopoles for wheeling services. And finally, regional interconnection appear to be the smartest way to offer the required flexibility in the electrical system to face the intermittency of the renewable energies and develop market with cross-border trade. Next slide, please. Yes, why is it interesting to have interconnection? First, to connect renewable energies and load beyond the border, to provide the required flexibility to face the development of intermittency while keeping the electrical system safe, and getting the exchange of electricity based on pure economic principle. Next slide, please. Let's take the example of Europe, which is the most advanced power trade organization in the world today. The interconnection process in Europe can be divided in 3 phases. The first phase was a cooperation between utilities in monopole for improving the system safety with cost optimization and exchanges of electricity and reserves in case of disturbances. The rules were harmonized by UCTE and Nordel. The second phase started in 2000 for internal market of electricity, organized by ACER, the Club of Regulator, and ENTSO-E, the Club of TSO. The third phase started immediately after in 2001 for CO2 emission reduction with the development of renewable energies and for giving more flexibility regarding the intermittency management. Next slide, please. Now let's take the example of Northeast Asia, which is not interconnected today. I was team leader of Northeast Asia Power System Interconnection, NAPSI project, What is the problem in Northeast Asia? Northeast Asia represents 25% of global GDP. Population is almost the same, while it represents 40% of global CO2 emission due to the high proportion of fossil-fired electricity, not forgetting the fine dust spreading at long distance in all the country. With the NAPSI project, China, Japan, Republic of Korea, and Russia can benefit the abundant wind and solar resources of Mongolia. Next slide, please. Next slide, yes. The potential of solar and wind in Mongolia is huge. 1,200 gigawatts of solar PV and 200 gigawatts for wind at the cheapest generation cost of the region. NAPSI is feasible with HVDC technology for overhead lines and undersea cables at a reasonable cost. Solar and wind power from Mongolia will replace fossil-fired electricity in the 4 other countries. With market opening, the interconnection will bring the necessary flexibility for facing intermittency. Exporting with NAPSI the abundant renewable resources of Mongolia in solar and wind will help for cutting the CO2 emissions of the regions and meeting the Paris Agreement. Now NAPSI is ruled by United Nations, UNESCAPE exactly, in the anticipation of a future NAPSI body where all the countries will work together. Next slide, please. Now let's take the example of Southeast Asia, the Greater Mekong Sub-region project that is starting in the frame of the Regional Power Trade Coordination Council, RPTCC, with rotating presidency of the 6 countries that are involved in. The map shows prominent resources in hydropower, mainly in Laos. Laos exports today 2/3 of its hydro energy towards the neighboring countries, and potential of development is important too, with 21 gigawatts of feasible hydro projects in a short future. Laos hydro power exportation will replace fossil-fired electricity in Thailand and Vietnam, and maybe further toward Malaysia and Singapore in the future. Next slide, please. Now let's take the example of One Sun, One World, One Grid. At the basis of WOG is the fact that the sun never sets and supply power 24/7 all over the world. The concept is a global electricity interconnection for helping CO2 emission reductions based on common use, not only solar, but also wind and hydro and other renewable energies, with the opportunity of cross-border exchanges of electricity. The project will start with the interconnection from Europe to the Philippines, involving more than 120 countries. Next slide, please. Yes. However, the ultimate goal is global interconnection. For facing renewable intermittency, the largest perimeter is the best. Global connectivity is a relevant target for the future. Here is one example of studies on global interconnections. Now, next slide, please. All these examples have common factors. First, regarding renewable energy development, costs are drastically decreasing, and we can anticipate that solar PV and wind power will become more cost-effective compared to fossil fuel electricity everywhere in the world. However, the major concern of solar and wind energy is to face intermittency. rather than developing thermal backup generation, the most efficient solution regarding climate change is to develop exchanges of electricity between countries using interconnection infrastructure. The interconnection will provide the flexibility that is mandatory to face the intermittency provided the opening of the electricity markets in the involved countries. As a result, interconnection will help to meet the Paris Agreement with the target to become worldwide. One last condition, a coordination body is mandatory to organize the power trade, regulation, and investment. This is the role of ACER and ENTSO-E in Europe, UNESCAPE now for NAPSI, and RPTCC for the GMS. Next slide, please. As a conclusion, we trust that the benefits brought by the interconnections are mainly to get cheaper wholesale and retail prices with more importation of cost-effective electricity in the countries, to improve flexibility for facing intermittency, to improve also system safety, I mean less risk of blackout, with more available power, to help for economical CO2 emission reductions and meet the commitments of the Paris Agreement. However, interconnection always requires a strong coordination between regulator or Minister of Energy when there is no regulator of the countries, and the creation of a common platform where all the countries are represented and work together. And we keep in mind that the ultimate goals of interconnection projects are also to develop renewable energy sources at reasonable cost and for helping people access to clean and affordable electricity. Last slide. Thank you for your attention.